Alright, ladies and gentlemen, hello, I'm here again talking about movies because I really had a lot of fun with it last time I did it, and it also outperformed every other video I've made in like a week, or actually overnight, so both factors are nice in my mind. But for this video, I just wanted to address the big movies that are out currently, the Meg Part 2 and the Paw Patrol movie. I got to see Oppenheimer on Friday and Barbie last night, and I really like both of them. I straight up could not choose between one of them because I think I enjoyed them the same amount, but I'll talk about Oppenheimer a little bit first. I think Oppenheimer is probably my favorite Christopher Nolan movie at this point. I've never been like a massive Chris Nolan fan. I love his work on a visual level. I think Interstellar is just one of the coolest film experiences, even if I have issues with the actual story. Just the way you get immersed in space through that movie is basically unparalleled. And obviously, like, he's got some classics, Inception, you know, it's very hard to dislike those movies. I think they're pretty great, but none of them are some of my favorites, maybe. But Oppenheimer really, I think, is what has spoken to me the most out of all of his filmography so far. I think it's his most human movie because it's one of the only ones where when I look back on it, I'm not going to remember like, oh yeah, this is the war movie, or oh, this is the magician movie, or the dream movie. This movie is very much about a guy, and he's dealing with his own conflict. First about his, really he's dealing with his conflict about his brilliance, conflicting with his personal life, and also his invention, the bomb, being used to kill people, which who'd have thought bombs can kill people. He's very morally self-destructive, but also he's a genius, and I am one of those things, so I related to it a lot. It's also really beautifully shot. It reminded me of Terrence Malick and like At Eternity's Gate a little bit. It's obviously not as expressionistic as Willem Dafoe in At Eternity's Gate with the camera like on his face, but it's still, for a big Hollywood movie, I really think it's bold that Nolan went this route with it, and the film looks gorgeous, and he also fixed his sound design, which is great. I'm really glad he did that, but the movie itself is actually louder than the real nuclear bomb, and I would highly suggest bringing earplugs so that you don't get your
cochlea.
My only real complaint with the movie is that everyone in it is famous, and while most of the time I think that's okay, and I think everybody in it did a really good job, there's still moments where I'm like, oh, he's in this? Wow. And while, yeah, I'm not disliking the people in it, it's just like, it takes me out of the experience a tiny bit, and I think aside from that, it's really perfect, which I feel great saying about a Christopher Nolan movie because I haven't said that in a while about a Christopher Nolan movie. So yeah. And then there's Barbie. I have a pink highlighter for Barbie. I support barbing. Barbie is amazing. Holy crap. It's very good. I'm not surprised because I love Greta Gerwig. I think she's a great writer, and I think everyone involved basically is extremely talented, and I never doubted it was going to be good, or at least I never doubted that I would love it, even if it was really bad. I think I would have found something, but thankfully it was amazing. It was hilarious. Every single thing with Ken is just one of the funniest things I've ever heard. I also have one little issue with Barbie. I think it kind of doesn't know what tone it's going for in the second act, because there's some really good emotional scenes. Like, there's one, it's not really a spoiler, but there's one scene where Barbie's just sitting down on a bench and she looks at an old lady and she just tells the lady she's beautiful. And that scene to me like was really, really good, and it's very subtle, and I think emotion works best when it's subtle. So that's what I love about the movie, and when it's doing stuff like that, it's great. But there's other scenes where it's just kind of a monologue that's saying everything that's hard about being a woman, and I'm not at all qualified to talk about that, and I'm not criticizing the movie for including it. I'm saying I don't like the way it was executed. I think the subtle moments are much better, and when it's doing that satirically as well, it really shines. Like, again, everything with the Kens and the patriarchy is just perfect. I love it. So in that sense, I think I love Barbie the same amount as Oppenheimer. But what I really wanted to talk about with this video is not so much like reviewing the movies themselves, but talking about tradition with movies and the culture surrounding them. Because today, most people, including myself, don't watch movies 100% legally. And I'm not going to talk about the moral ramifications of doing that, but I am going to say theaters are really cool. I didn't grow up always going to theaters, but since I've gotten into film, I've realized that there's a lot of movies that you should really watch in theaters because you want to experience them that way. And it's not something you can miss because you'll never get the chance to again. So seeing movies like Oppenheimer and Barbie, especially with the big buzz surrounding the two of them opening on the same day, is a really rare thing that only people of, like, not my generation, but people who are alive right now are going to be able to experience. And that's really beautiful. And that's one of the things I love about film, is it's a landmark event when a big film comes out. And I haven't been to a sold-out theater probably since Avengers Endgame or Infinity War. Probably both of them, I don't know. But Barbie was sold out last night, and that's awesome. I am so happy that people are going back to theaters and watching movies, let alone watching movies that are artistic and creative instead of watching Marvel movies. It's really cool that that's happened again, sort of, not to the same extent maybe, but just, I don't know. I'm really glad. And I think both of the movies are very genius and they deserve the success they're getting. That's not a hot take at this point at all, but I would highly encourage everyone goes to see them because you should. Take some time, just watch a good movie, have a little fun. Oppenheimer's not fun, but Barbie is fun. But just take the time to go to a theater and appreciate it, and just enjoy your life for a little while, because we don't do it now enough, and we should more. So, yeah.